which he says he doesn't care about. He's like, oh yeah, you put her. I left because you ratted on Grady and you were going to put me away too. But now that I'm back, I don't care. It's totally fine. And then he tells her, as long as you're straight with me, you'll never have cause to worry about another thing in her life. And by the way, Catherine Hale hasn't been straight with anybody ever about anything. So
apparently not.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Do you
sort
think
of behavior.
that the Strange is so powerful that it would just like prevent?
That's what I'm saying.
It's
just all rational thought has been blocked out.
I mean, it is. I guess it is saying like like a woman whose face launches 1,000 ships, or like something similar to that. Where the power is there is in the woman.
Yeah.
Well, here we are.
Well, so that's what's going on with Catherine and Grady. And Catherine very clearly doesn't want to get married. But she told him she'd think about it. So the locals find Calhoun's corpse and Raylan's card. The locals are fantastic in this episode. I really liked them.
They really are. Yeah.
They're so geeked out by this. And it's just so weird. What could be going on? And requires your card, trying to find out without asking. And Raylan just blows him off. Oh, he's my realtor. But
the running gag also, right? The way that they say realtor.
Yeah. Which may not be a thing much longer thanks to a class action lawsuit.
I heard about that. Yeah.
But I'm following that one pretty closely because I have the same opinion of realtors that the Justified writers do. So then they tell Tim and Raylan that the victim Calhoun was punched to death basically, and they tell him it was one shot. You can still see the knuckle prints on his face from the bruising. And so they immediately suspect Choo-Choo because there's not many people walking around Harlan County who are strong enough to literally murder a man with one punch.
Yeah.
So they go visit Markham looking for Choo-Choo. And Markham's, interested to see them. I have a clip of this. But they're breaking the news that Calhoun is dead. Now, remember, this happened the night before. And all the guys are there at the bar talking about this, or, could be talking about this. But Markham comes out and he doesn't know yet. So I have a clip of that.
Deputy U.S. Marshal Gibbons and his sidekick. Suppose it's too much to hope you're here to say you've reconsidered my offer. You can advise Miss McCready to do the same.
Afraid not.
Just a social call, then. People will say we're in love.
Actually, we're here to talk to you about a murder.
Would you excuse us a moment, darling? And who am I supposed to have killed?
What we've heard, that'd be quite a list. If you don't mind, we'll just focus on the last 24 hours.
Calhoun Schreier.
That's my realtor.
Was. Mine too, as it happens. Guess we're both in the market for someone new.
I assure you, Deputy, if somebody killed old Calhoun, this is the first time I'm hearing of it.
Say, I don't see my man Choo-Choo. He ain't dodging me, is he?
He's out. Yeah, we go look around back. We're not gonna find him trying to hide behind a coat rack.
Choo-Choo don't need to hide from you. You want to take him on, you best call in an airstrike.
You know where I think you went wrong? You hired a bunch of mercs because they look the shit in jungle fatigues. Turns out they know killing, but they don't know crime. You see, Choo-Choo? You be in touch.
Silver lining, you keep that card on you. Cops ever find you buried in a shallow grave, they know to give us a call.
And that moment,
fantastic.
That moment is our Kentucky Fried Wisdom moment of the week.
Say, boy, you cover about as much as a flapper's skirt in a high wind. I say, pay attention, boy. Look at me when I'm talking to you, son. Look, sister, is any of this filtering through that little blue bonnet of yours? Pay attention, son. Look at me when I'm talking to you.
I wonder if Tim decided to say that after he was called the sidekick or before. That's what I want to know.
I know, because he's always going to pay second fiddle.
Yeah,
to Raylan.
Yeah. I do. The line delivery from Markham there is so good too. It's Deputy U.S. Marshal Givens and his sidekick. It's so perfect.
I do think that the best line out of that whole sequence is you guys end up knowing a killing but don't know crime.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. And
fantastic.
and I think there's a little bit of a mistake there with Raylan commenting on jungle fatigues. These guys would have definitely been in desert fatigues. But
yeah, that's right.
But beyond that, he's absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, if it was in the 70s, we would have been like Vietnam.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, these guys are all yeah.
Back when Elmore was churning out novels, it would have absolutely been jungle fatigues. So
yeah.
And you think about this and you think about, okay, yeah, there's these guys know killing, but they don't know crime. And you see that leads immediately to the bringing in of Boone in the next episode. And, or is it the next episode or the episode after? I don't remember, but yeah, so you start to figure out, okay, Markham is changing up his strategy here. He's going to get people who know crime better than killing.
And I think we find out maybe it's the next one where they're talking about how many, because they've killed a lot of people. Like they were the conversation that they had.
Yeah.
Is it the next scene?
No, it was in this one where he brought it up while they were standing there over Calhoun's body. They were like,
oh, that's right.
How many guys do you think we've killed? Or how many do you think we've killed?
Well, and there's the seal or the seal cut, that seal sniper accounted for like 200 or something like
250, but you take that with a grain of salt since he's a seal.
Yeah, that's right. That's like that.
I'd like to know how many
Tim
Tim has. That's what I want to know. I still want to know how many Tim has.
Oh, I know, huh?
Yeah, that might be the guy they were talking about. Like, I don't know if one of the movies we were talking about was an actual seal or not, but it could have been that guy that he was talking about with his 250 kills.
Yeah, it was American Sniper, right? We were talking about. We
couldn't even get that whole thing straight. I'm not doing it again.
We got to. Chris Kyle. That's who it was.
Every episode.
That's our running gag. We'll just have that through the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have print t-shirts. Just like American Sniper crossed out and like shooter written in below it or whatever. Yeah. So while all this is happening, they're looking for Choo-Choo. Choo-Choo goes and picks up the hooker. Turns out she's actually a nice girl. She's sweet to him. She asks him questions and is actually seemingly interested in the answers. And Choo-Choo changes his mind and decides maybe he doesn't want to kill her. And while Markham and Walker are discussing the Choo-Choo problem, Markham basically says, hey, you got to kill him. Walker says, no, I'm not going to kill him. We were in the sandbox together, blah, blah, blah. And then Choo-Choo calls and says, hey, I think I figured out the way to proceed without killing her. And Walker's like, okay, he just used the weak link makes the whole chain weak argument on me, but you just kind of reinforced it. So I guess I got to kill you now. So asks him where he is and goes out to meet him to discuss whether or not they're going to kill the hooker in person. So Boyd is climbing down into a mine shaft. Now, so I found this, again, one of the more unrealistic things that I've seen portrayed on Justified is this mine and the work that they're doing in the mine. Yeah. First of all, like there's way too much space down there. It's like a Jack Bauer air duct in that mine. Like it feels way too open.
Yeah.
And then secondly, they go down the ladder to get down into the mine, and then they're immediately talking about how deep they are. It's been a while since I've been this deep. Well, it looked like they went down about 12 feet on a ladder. Like they weren't tired at all coming down. Like if you climb a ladder down 300 feet, you're going to be, not only are you going to be exhausted, you're going to be, like petrified getting off that ladder.
Yeah.
But also, how is the ladder still there and functional and everything? I don't know. The mining stuff to me is it's a good storyline. I enjoy it, but like there's that scene where they're drilling into the ceiling or whatever, and nothing's happening. Like there's no pieces of debris falling down around them or anything like that. It's like, this is not realistic at all. What are they doing?
I can see why they started doing the type of mining where you're just blowing stuff up.
Of course, yeah. Destroys the environment, but
but
this seems like an awful lot of work. So they talk about firearm usage as it relates to chupacabras, and Zachariah basically establishes a rule that you're not allowed to shoot guns in the mine because there's methane and
pockets of gases
that could explode and roast them all. And they both mentioned chupacabras. Apparently, I didn't look this up, but I'm betting that's like a sort of a mine thing. Like the miner guys razz themselves about chupacabras in the dark or whatever.
You know what a chupacabra is? It's like a Mexican, like a goat thing.
It's like it's sort of like it's like a little mini Bigfoot, but in Mexico, and it kills livestock.
Yeah. It's my favorite. I like that. Just the word chupacabra is just a great word.
Is a great word. It's a really good word.
Yeah.
So, and so they talk about chupacabras a couple of times, and then Boyd, the pig, and Zachariah go down in the mine while Carl stays guard at the entrance. Because he's freaking out about being down in the mine. So he's not going to be much use. Let's see. What else? Art pays a visit to the Marshals office, and he wants to discuss Catherine Hale with Rachel. And we'll hear why.
Something about Raylan?
Why, no, as it happens. Wasn't the Hale task force one of the first jobs you worked?
First big one, anyway. 21-year-old girl, fresh out of Glencoe.
Do you happen to have an idea who the U.S. attorney's snitch might have been?
Snitch? That case was made on wiretaps. Whole reason why they couldn't get Catherine was because she never talked on the phone.
Yeah, I know there wasn't ever an official CI, but Poole always hinted that he had an inside man.
Didn't you tell me you'd never end up being one of those old lawmen who spent his golden years obsessed with his old cases?
All right, first of all, let's watch it with the golden years shit. Second of all, this is just an old case. It's not my old case, it's just an old case. And third, sometimes a man's just got to find a way to get out of the house. Could it have been Markham?
That makes sense. Turns out he was making time with Catherine. Still is, as a matter of fact, or is again. That is, if I can trust our CI.
I'll be goddamned. What do you mean, trust your CI? Is Ava doing something that makes you not trust her?
I think she tried to run yesterday. That, or she and Raylan are back sleeping together, or both.
How sure are you of that?
Movement on their phones indicates she ran, and he brought her back.
What a dumbass. You want some advice?
Figure since you're already here?
Bring Raylan in and see if you can confirm what your gut is telling you. And if you can...
If I can, I'll have to pull him.
Maybe. Probably.
Which will mean terminating Ava as a CI, which means we're starting this case over from scratch. Is that what you'd do? You'd let it go. Wouldn't risk the case just to save your own ass.
What I think is really interesting here is this is happening. They're having this conversation at the same time that Ava is, doing what Raylan calls getting her junior G-Man badge, trying to extract information from Earl on what Boyd is doing and where he is, and then relay that information to Raylan with Earl there, which is incredibly dangerous and kind of dumb to do.
Yeah. So she's actually giving, like, trying to do what she's been tasked by the Marshals, and it's and she's basically they're questioning her.
Right, exactly.
So,
yeah. She's thrown herself into this and accelerated it to the point where she wants a resolution on this stuff, and she's trying to move it along fast. And the marshals are like,